Now, the left side of the RS-56 plugin has everything that was part of the original hardware unit. On the right side, Waves has added some additional conveniences. Most obvious, of course, is the frequency response graph, which is a mainstay of EQ plugins. A lot of experienced engineers prefer to set EQ strictly by ear, without looking at a display. But a display can come in handy nonetheless. This one offers a choice of a 30 dB or a 15 dB amplitude scale. I would think for most applications, the 15 dB scale would be more than enough. How often do you really need to dial up more than 15 dB booster cut, especially with an EQ design that's all about subtlety and musicality? Below the graph, you have VU meters. Just like the ones in the red consoles, these are calibrated so 0 VU equals -18 dBFS. But again, that calibration is adjustable, though I'd probably leave it alone. In the stereo version of the plugin, there are the options I described briefly last time. There's stereo mode, where the left and right channels are linked, just like on the original. Both knobs move when you turn one. In duo mode, the two channels controls are independent. This is great if you have a doubled part or a stereo signal like drums with different elements on opposite sides of the mix. And finally, there's MS, mid-side mode. I've explained MS before in regard to the red consoles, but in case anyone's skipping around these tutorials and needs the background on it, I'll go over it again briefly here. MS, or mid-side, is a method of stereo recording and processing that was popular, especially in the era of vinyl records and the transition from mono to stereo, because it guaranteed mono compatibility without any phasing issues for stereo recordings. Instead of the usual left and right channels of a stereo signal, MS has one mono channel, M, mid, which is the sum of the left and right channels, left plus right. And one side channel, S, which is the difference between them, left minus right. The side channel, S, usually consists mainly of ambience and tracks panned hard to one side or the other. The width of the stereo image can be controlled by how much of the S, side channel, is mixed in with the M, mono or mid channel. With full mixes, subtle adjustments to the side channel can affect the spread and ambience of the mix. But if the recording is played back in mono, the side information cancels and a clean mono playback is heard, without the phasing that can sometimes occur when side information is summed to mono with a standard left-right stereo signal. In an EQ, especially if you're running a mix through it, MS processing can allow you to enhance the ambience of the recording, maybe by boosting treble just for the side channel, or boosting the bass in the mid-channel only to add some punch to things that are pan-center, like kick and bass, without muddying up the ambience and other elements on the sides of the mix. The monitor switch lets you selectively audition one or both channels. In the stereo and duo modes, your options are normal stereo, mono, summed to check mono compatibility, and left only or right only through both sides. In MS mode, these options change to stereo, mono, or mid only and side only. Finally, there are output gain controls for left and right, and a phase, really a polarity switch, for each channel. Here are a couple of quick examples of the RS-56 in use. Next up, we'll take a look at the King's microphones.